Huntington disease is a fatal hereditary brain disorder for which there is currently no cure. Thousands of Canadians are affected.
Leading research indicates that the prevalence of Huntington disease is 1 in 7,000 people. The number of people at risk for the disease are 4 in 7,000 people. And the number of people that are impacted by the disease are 1 in 1,000 people. This disease impacts generations of a family. And where we thought the prevalence was 1 in 10,000, we now know that it's much more common than that.
Every child born to a parent with Huntington disease has a 50% chance of sharing the same fate.
My family is immediately, I guess, affected by the disease. My mother is gene positive and has Huntington's, and then her mother was also gene positive and had Huntington's disease.
Huntington's disease has been in my life, my whole life, and my Oma has had it, and she actually passed away 2 years ago in this coming March from it, and she was diagnosed well before I was born, so I only ever knew her as sick. But I was told I was a lot like her, so that kind of makes me feel good.
HD is like having Alzheimer's, Parkinson, and schizophrenia all at the same time. In the later stages of HD, individuals can comprehend but cannot interact with their family.
I don't know my Oma without Huntington's disease. So I mean, I've seen her go from still being able to communicate with her and kind of get what she's trying to tell me to her not even knowing who I am anymore and not being able to understand a word that she's saying.
It's not easy, that's for sure. I think for me it was hardest when I went away to school, because I went to school in Kingston, I went to university there, and I only came home, every couple months. And I think when you're away for that length of time and you come back, you really notice those changes a lot more than when you're with that person the entire time.
People can't connect the dots at times. If they're in strategic positions, they find it hard to think through some things. They find it hard to do some math problems. So the disease progresses, and eventually people become incapacitated at the end of the disease. It usually takes about 15 years.
Genetic discrimination is when Canadians with a genetic disease are treated differently because of their DNA. Imagine being denied a home because you don't qualify for mortgage insurance.
Many may not know that genetic discrimination is a reality in Canada. Of the G8 countries, Canada is the only country does not protect its citizens against genetic discrimination. That has huge impact on people. People are afraid to come forward to understand whether or not they may have a disease like Huntington's, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or if they're at risk for those diseases.
Many stay silent.
I didn't talk about it for years. I wouldn't tell my friends, wouldn't tell anything, because I didn't know. I didn't know what it was. Nobody understood what it was, and how else could I explain what was wrong with my mom or my Oma when she came over?
There had been no documented history, I guess, of the disease in her family, so it was kind of new to everybody when the results came back that that's what she had.
Over the last 100 years, research has been cumulative. In the last 10 years, we have learned much more than we learned in the first 90 years. So it is very, very hopeful. There are different research discoveries now. Our goal is to fine-tune those. There are ways now that they know to turn off the mutation, the Huntington mutation, put it at rest. There are ways that researchers have looked at where they can take the extra protein, Huntington protein, and put it in a garbage basket of the body. And there are many promising treatments. What we need to do now is look at clinical studies and make sure that when the treatment is ready, we're ready with the individuals to have clinical trials and make sure that the discovery makes it to the population that needs it in the fastest way it can.
The Huntington Society is the founding organization of the Canadian Coalition for Genetic Fairness, a group of 15 organizations dedicated to establishing protection against genetic discrimination for all Canadians. The Huntington Society supports Canadian families across the country through professional social workers and family services in every province, a network of official chapters uniting families and volunteers in every province. Young People Affected by Huntington Disease is a national chapter established to reach out and unite young people touched by this devastating disease.
It's honestly the best thing I think that could happen for the youth that are affected by it. We have gone from a very small group to quite a large following.
Huntington's being kind of a rare disease. You don't grow up knowing a lot of other people affected by it unless they're other relatives or family members.
And so far the feedback that we've gotten from people is that it's so helpful because it gives people, like youth, people to talk to.
Some things that you're not necessarily comfortable talking with your own family, and understanding that there's other people out there going through the same things, or how they dealt with things, or asking questions about predictive testing and why they thought they should go through with it or why they didn't. And I think that's been very comforting and helpful.
The young people are our future, and it is encouraging and motivating and energizing to have them on board and to work with them.
The Huntington Society works with families, caregivers, professionals, researchers, and volunteers, providing a solid support network across Canada.
We have chapters right across Canada that support families and help them understand, families that are coming into somebody that's newly symptomatic, and they can talk to families who have been through it, and they can share and they can help. So we have a large network of professionals, of individuals, and of volunteers that help support the HD community.
They're just those people that are always there, no matter what you need, whether it's something from iPad or you just need somebody to talk to. They're just there.
One of the biggest things that you have to remember is that having Huntington's doesn't necessarily mean that you have a death sentence. That you have lots of time left to do the things that you want in your life, have a family, get married. The prospect of having the disease shouldn't change the way you live your life. If anything, it should encourage you to take more chances and to do the things that you might put off for later in life. Things happen to people every day that you can't predict or change. So the fact that you may or may not have a disease shouldn't also change the way you want to live your life.
I'm going to live my life as it is and just do the best I can to raise awareness and help bring an end to this disease.